Hey, everybody, and welcome to the latest Fangirl magazine stream talking about Invincible, which is an amazing series. And if you haven't seen it, don't know about it, I don't know if you've been under a rock, which happens a lot in this show, actually, which is kind of sad and depressing. Invincible is a series done by Seth Rogen and basically the team behind The Boys that's on Amazon Prime. The entire first season is now up. It's 8 episodes, sadly very short, but man, do they pack in a lot on this show. It is also done by Robert Kirkman, the gentleman behind The Walking Dead, and that series as well. But this is all animated. Now, what I love about the style and look of Invincible is the fact that the style is very much and looks like the way 90s cartoons did, but more fancy, stylized, and definitely more adult. It looks cutesy at first. The design looks like your typical, the X-Men series back in the 90s and early 2000s that we had that were, very cute, very, comic book. But that's where the differences start, because Invincible is super violent. The first time this happens is in the first episode. You really do have, it's kind of funny because they've kind of taken the mid-credit sequence to heart on nearly every episode of the show. So you have to wait and keep watching after the credits start. But it is shockingly violent because it takes the tropes and there is a comic book series. I haven't read it. I've heard of it. I had heard of it at the time of this, and I'm glad I hadn't read it because, oh my God, the show will just punch you in the face repeatedly with things that happen. But I really loved it. God almighty, was it good. And I ended up marathoning through the entire first season within 2 days of, I tried to savor the episodes, and it was really hard because you just wanted to keep watching. They're typically 45 minutes to 52 minutes each. So, and there's, it's Amazon Prime, there's no commercials. So the series follows Mark Grayson. Nice heroic name, reminiscent of Dick Grayson, and his family, his mother and his father. His father is a superhero in the ilk of Superman, but he is not a Kryptonian. He's a Viltranian. Is that the word for them? And he's very much, though, your Superman type, and came to Earth, was adopted by the Earthlings and became their protector. And so the series follows Mark the day he gets his powers. He hits puberty and he gets his powers. And that's when everything changes in the lives of everyone in the show and Mark's life. Instead of everything being happy and great that he has powers and abilities, there's a darkness, and you can feel the tension right away. There's something is up. So as the show progresses, you see what happens. Mark gets his powers. He becomes invincible. And it takes the tropes of your typical hero's journey and just kind of knocks them on their axis with what happens. It's not a happy show. It's not, yay, everything's great. My dad's Superman and I am Superboy. There's nothing like that here. In fact, this show manages to be about as realistic as something like this could be when it comes to aliens and, the trauma and destruction that can be met out by these beings. There's very much a Garth Ennis vibe to this, but it's Kirkman's work. He has a very dark sense of humor. For those of us who've watched Walking Dead, we know this. And it's just a great show that takes your typical characterizations from the world of comics and makes them gritty in terms of just the emotional pack of impact of everything. It's beautifully done. The art is just great. The gore is gross as hell. It's fantastic. It's epic. And this is just the first season. There will be another season. If they don't do another season, Amazon's insane. But it's just beautifully done and acted. And I have to talk about the voice acting in this because it is just amazing. I just kept hearing voices and thinking, that can't be. And then I'd look it up. And sure enough, and what's great is when you watch this on Amazon Prime, if you choose that X-ray method that they've got on there, where if you're watching on a computer, you click on the screen and it will pop up and tell you the actors in the scene that you're watching. I will also give you a bit of trivia with this one, which is really great because there's things that you learn about what inspired this scene and things of that nature. But it's just so damn good. And what I found hilarious was how many Walking Dead actors show up in Invincible. Being that it's a Kirkman-based comic, it almost felt like if you died on Walking Dead, you're going to be on Invincible. Steven Yeun, who was just nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor and played Glenn on The Walking Dead, plays Mark. And then you've got Ross Marquand, who plays Aaron, who's still alive on The Walking Dead. So maybe you don't have to die to be on Invincible. But he plays multiple characters in this. Zachary Quinto, who from Heroes and American Horror Story and God knows everything else, Spock and the new Star Trek films. He is in it as Robot. You've got Chad Coleman. The list is ridiculous. The one that got me was Marisol. I never say his name right. Mahershala Ali is in this. So it's got like everybody is either won an Oscar or has been nominated for an Oscar, but you got Michael Cudlitz, Lenny James. This is what's hilarious. These are the ones that are, they actually went so far as to make a list of this. Lauren Cohen, Sonequa Martin Green, Chad Coleman, Michael Cudlitz, Lenny James, Ross Marquand. He does numerous ones. But then on top of that, you got Carrie Payton, who is still alive on The Walking Dead. Jason Mantzoukas, Jillian Jacobs. It's like a who's who of geekdom. I really love Walton Goggins. He plays the mysterious Cecil, who's like the head of the defense agency. Then there's a whole section for I was just amazed because I heard this voice and I'm like, is that Burn Notice? And it was Jeffrey Donovan. Jeffrey Donovan's in it. Michael Dorn's in it. Mark Hamill's in it. Zazie Beetz is in it. It's like a who's who list. John Hamm is in like the first episode. I'm having to look because there's so many people. But this is the thing that made me laugh my butt off, though. There's so many Easter eggs in this show. You really have to keep your attention. You have to go back and rewatch it. And it's rewatchable as all hell. So don't feel bad about that. Because there's so many things hidden in it. The one that got me was the high school. And it was funny because they showed a shot of the outside of the high school that Mark and his friends go to. And it was Reginald Vell Johnson High School. And I thought, isn't that the guy from, and then the principal shows up and his name's Principal Winslow and he's voiced by Reginald Vell Johnson. If you didn't know Carl Winslow, Family Matters, it's him. And I thought that was great. That was like the most Inceptionist thing you could do with this show. But it's just, there's so much good stuff, just great actors. Justin Roiland shows up for a brief time. So you've got Rick from Rick and Morty. But it's just such a great show. I don't want to spoil it if you don't know anything about, what happens in this show. There's just so much good stuff. I love the fact that, it's just good. I love the characters. It's taken seriously. Even with the comedy, there is so much dark in this, in the acting, the story. You're invested, and you're terrified of some of the things that are happening, and you don't want these characters hurt because they're just great characters. So as the show progresses, I'm not going to spoil the big things. Mark becomes a superhero, as you've seen. It's not a surprise because it's in all the ads and in the, there's a comic. I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free, but he ends up joining a group like the Teen Titans, and there's all this interplay between them. They're all great characters. It doesn't make, what's great about it is it doesn't make heroes perfect at all. But there's your typical pricks that are in the group. There's some very weird things that happen in this show with these characters. The one that everyone's going to probably be talking about is Monster Girl, and what happens with her and another member of the team. It gets really freaky deaky in the comics, though. I've looked into this. I'm like, oh, I wanted to get more research on the show, and some things happen that are really bizarre. But I loved it. It was so good. Amazon's knocking it out of the park with the superhero stuff. I wish they'd bring back the Tick. This kind of makes up for the Tick. Sort of. I still miss the Tick. It deserved more than what it got. But this is great. This is a great series to watch along with The Boys. If you're into The Boys type of dark, ironic, sarcastic humor and storytelling, and you don't mind gore with your spandex, Invincible is the thing to watch. It is fantastic. I can't say enough about it. Go watch it. Binge that stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel because I will be doing more videos. Again, Invincible is fantastic. It's got just packed full of people, great actors, great voiced acting, just great animation. J.K. Simmons is Omni-Man, and he just delivers so good. Just all around great, great stuff. So go watch Invincible. It is the hero's journey as you've never seen it before, and fantastic stuff. Thank you guys. Stay safe. Spread the word, not the virus. We're almost out of this. We're almost there. So go watch Invincible and go get your vaccination shots, because we all want to go back to conventions so we can talk about and geek out about this stuff together. See you guys. Bye.